Welcome to the last episode of the Jahiliyyah series. Over the course of this journey, we've delved into the lives, struggles and legacies of the people from the era of Jahiliyyah. Today, we bring this journey to its conclusion. But as we do, we must ask, what does Jahiliyyah truly mean to us now? Was it merely a distant chapter sealed in the pages of history, or does it echo in the world we live in today? In this final episode, we explore the striking parallels between their time and ours, their divisions, their alliances, their search for meaning, and how those same forces shape our modern world. Jahiliyyah was not merely an age of ignorance, as it has often been labelled. It was a time of transition, a world searching for order amid chaos, for meaning amid conflict. It was ignorance, not because of lack of intellect, but because of lack of divine guidance. The tribal boundaries of the past may have dissolved, replaced by national borders and global alliances, but the underlying tensions remain. The lessons of Jahiliyyah resonate with us, perhaps now more than ever. In the vast deserts of Arabia, before the revelation of the Quran, the era was marked by profound social, spiritual and moral challenges. Why, you might ask, should we as Muslims study the pre-Islamic period of Jahiliyyah? What can we gain from understanding this seemingly dark chapter of history? Join me as we explore the significance of studying this era and its relevance to our faith and lives today. To fully understand Islam, we must first understand the context in which it was revealed. The Quran was not sent down in isolation. Its verses directly addressed the customs, beliefs and issues of the time. For instance, the Quran's condemnation of usury, the killing of female infants, and the worship of idols makes much more sense when we recognize that these practices were widespread in Jahiliyyah society. Consider this: how can we appreciate the beauty of light without knowing darkness? Similarly, understanding the challenges of Jahiliyyah helps us grasp the transformative power of Islam. Each command and prohibition was carefully tailored to guide a society steeped in ignorance toward enlightenment and justice. By studying Jahiliyyah, we gain a clearer picture of just how revolutionary Islam was. The prohibition of practices like infanticide was not merely a moral stance, it was a declaration of human dignity in a world that had devalued it. The Quran elevated women's status, curbed tribal feuds, and established principles of equality and justice. Understanding what existed before makes the depth of Islam's reforms even more profound. When we examine how Islam addressed the problems of Jahiliyyah, we gain timeless insights into confronting the challenges of our own era. The Quran's solutions to idolatry, injustice and moral decay remind us of the importance of living a principled and God-conscious life. The contrast between the Jahiliyyah period and the Islamic era is staggering. Pre-Islamic Arabia was a land of stark deserts and warring tribes where ignorance reigned and life revolved around tribal pride, idol worship and constant conflict. The people were divided, the weak were oppressed, and knowledge was scarce. But within a single generation, something extraordinary happened. The message of Islam transformed this fragmented society into a unified, disciplined and enlightened force that would change the course of human history. Islam was the incredible force that turned the once backward, ignorant and divided Arabs into the torchbearers of a global civilization. Islam reshaped an entire people, unlocking their potential and propelling them from the depths of ignorance to the heights of mastery, creating a legacy that continues to inspire the world today. The pre-Islamic era wasn't entirely defined by ignorance. It was also a time of great linguistic and poetic achievements. By studying Jahiliyyah, Muslims can appreciate how the Quran challenged and surpassed the literary traditions of the time, leaving even the greatest poets of Arabia in awe. Moreover, many pre-Islamic customs, such as hospitality, courage and loyalty, were refined and preserved in Islamic teachings. Understanding these traditions allows us to honor the cultural heritage of Arabia while recognizing Islam's role in perfecting and purifying it. Studying this transformation strengthens our faith and deepens our gratitude for the guidance Allah has provided. It reminds us of the mercy and wisdom embedded in the Quran and the teachings of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. For Muslims, knowing the past of Jahiliyyah isn't about glorifying it, but understanding the darkness from which Allah saved humanity through Islam. The Quran states, "Through it, Allah guides those who seek His pleasure to the ways of peace, brings them out of darkness and into light by His will, and guides them to the straight path." Quran chapter 5 verse 16. Finally, understanding Jahiliyyah equips us with knowledge for effective da'wah. When explaining Islam to others, historical context becomes a powerful tool. Highlighting how Islam revolutionized society not only showcases the relevance of its teachings, but also helps others appreciate the divine wisdom behind them. The significance of studying Jahiliyyah isn't confined to history. Many of the social ills of pre-Islamic Arabia have parallels in our modern world. The pre-Islamic era of Jahiliyyah, or the Age of Ignorance, is often thought of as a relic of the past, a time when Arabian society was consumed by tribalism, moral corruption, and spiritual emptiness. But is Jahiliyyah truly gone? Or has it taken on new forms in our modern world, especially in regions like Arabia? Today, we'll explore the striking parallels between the past and present, shedding light on how lessons from history remain relevant. In the Jahiliyyah period, tribalism dominated every aspect of life. Allegiance to one's tribe was paramount, often leading to endless feuds and conflicts. Blood ties mattered more than justice, and the tribe's honor dictated individual actions. Fast forward to today. While the literal tribal structure has diminished, its spirit lingers. In modern Arabia and beyond, tribalism has been replaced by the new ills of nationalism, sectarianism, and class divisions. People are often judged not by their character, but by their ethnicity, wealth, or social standing. Political and social loyalties can mirror the old tribal mentality, fostering division instead of unity. In pre-Islamic Arabia, material wealth and status symbols like livestock and lavish caravans were measures of success. The elite monopolized resources, while the poor were left to fend for themselves. The Quran repeatedly criticized this obsession with worldly gains, calling people to prioritize spiritual and ethical values. Jahiliyyah was defined by spiritual emptiness. People worshipped idols, seeking favor and fortune, yet remained disconnected from true divine guidance. These idols, made of stone or wood, symbolized the misplaced priorities of society. In modern times, the idols have changed, but idolatry persists. Instead of worshipping statues, people idolize power, fame, money, and technology. The spiritual void left by these pursuits is evident in the increasing rates of anxiety, depression, and social unrest. Even in Arabia, where Islam's roots run deep, the allure of worldly distractions threatens to overshadow the values of faith. In Jahiliyyah, the rich exploited the poor, usury was rampant, and justice was a privilege of the elite. The Quran came as a revolutionary force, advocating for economic fairness, care for the underprivileged, and an end to exploitation. Today, while much has improved, economic disparities remain stark. In modern Arabia, the wealth gap between elites and the working class, especially among migrant laborers, reflects a form of social injustice reminiscent of Jahiliyyah. Islam's emphasis on fairness, zakat, and social responsibility remains as crucial as ever. Pre-Islamic society thrived on poetry, alcohol, and gatherings that often encouraged immorality. These distractions were more than entertainment. They reflected a society focused on fleeting pleasures. Their verses often glorified war, wine, and immoral escapades, reflecting the values of a society steeped in indulgence and ignorance. Modern Arabia has seen a surge in entertainment industries, with concerts, festivals, and social media shaping cultural trends. While entertainment itself is not inherently wrong, the rise of excessive indulgence in such pursuits can mirror the Jahiliyyah tendency to prioritize pleasure over purpose. In modern times, poetry may no longer hold the same societal sway, but its essence lives on. Rap battles, spoken word performances, and viral slogans dominate pop culture. Much like the Jahiliyyah poets, today's artists often glorify themes of excess, rebellion, and self-indulgence. Their words reach far wider audiences, amplified by technology, but the messages remain strikingly similar. Islam put an end to the pre-Islamic practice of infanticide, where Arabs buried their newborn daughters alive. However, this evil has taken a new shape all over the world in the form of abortion. Similarly, modern society faces a crisis of values not just in Arabia or Islamic countries, but everywhere. The endless pursuit of fame, wealth, and pleasure mirrors the decadence of Jahiliyyah, where short-term gratification often trumps long-term purpose. Families are fractured, communities are divided, and spiritual fulfillment is replaced by the constant chase for material success. If we look at the choices made in the pre-Islamic era of Jahiliyyah and compare them to the choices of today's leaders in Saudi Arabia and other countries in the Arabian Peninsula, a striking parallel emerges. The prioritization of economic gain at the cost of spirituality. Amr bin Luhay was a leader of the tribe of Khuza'a and a prominent figure in pre-Islamic Arabia. He is infamous for introducing idol worship to the sacred land of Arabia. Amr brought idols to the Kabba, convincing people that these symbols of materialism and false gods would bring prosperity and fortune. At first glance, his motives seemed harmless, even noble. He sought economic prosperity and unity among tribes through shared rituals. But in reality, his actions led to the spiritual corruption of Arabia, replacing the religion of Ibrahim with polytheism for the sake of material gain. Amr bin Luhay's story is more than a historical anecdote. It's a cautionary tale. His actions were driven by the same temptation that many leaders face today, the allure of economic prosperity, even if it means compromising spiritual values. The parallels between Amr bin Luhay and modern leaders are undeniable. When economic gain becomes the primary goal, the essence of faith is at risk of being eroded. When the Kaaba is overshadowed by skyscrapers and the call to prayer competes with music festivals, the risk of spiritual desensitization grows. The gradual normalization of such practices erodes the sanctity of the region, making it harder to preserve its role as the spiritual heart of the Muslim world. Saudi Arabia stands as the heart of the Muslim world, home to the two holiest sites, Mecca and Medina. Yet, in recent years, the kingdom has undergone rapid modernization, prioritizing economic diversification under its Vision 2030 initiative. The question is not whether the past repeats itself, but whether we will learn from it. Let us reflect on our roles as individuals and communities, striving to transform today's Jahiliyyah into a society illuminated by faith, purpose, and moral clarity. Despite these parallels, there is hope. The Quran and Sunnah provide timeless guidance to address the issues we face today. By studying Jahiliyyah, we can recognize the patterns of human behavior and learn from the profound transformation Islam brought to society. Just as Islam transformed an entire society, grounding it in ethics and spirituality, so too can today's generation redirect its immense potential toward building a world rooted in values, discipline, and purpose. For modern Arabia and the world, the solution lies in reconnecting with the principles that Islam introduced. justice, humility, spiritual focus, and unity. This isn't about rejecting progress, but aligning it with the moral compass that Islam provides. The echoes of Jahiliyyah remind us that ignorance isn't confined to a single time or place. It can reappear in new forms, challenging us to stay true to our values. By understanding the past, we can shape a better future rooted in the timeless teachings of Islam. The lessons of Jahiliyyah remind us of the dangers of ignorance, injustice, and division, but they also highlight the power of vision, resilience, and truth. Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, emerged in this era, armed not with wealth or armies, but with a message that spoke to the hearts of all people, a message of peace, equality, and devotion to one Creator. This brings us to the conclusion of this journey through the era of Jahiliyyah. Let this series inspire us to reflect on our own lives, to confront the Jahiliyyah within, and to strive for a world built on the foundations of knowledge, justice, and compassion. The story of Jahiliyyah is not just history. It is a timeless call to rise above ignorance and embrace enlightenment. Thank you for watching the Jahiliyyah series. If you liked it, don't forget to share it with others. Also like and subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell. Let us know what you think in the comments section. We will see you soon. Inshallah, may peace and blessings be upon you.